From Cobra Kai's Zolo Maridueña leading the film, to Susan Sarandon playing the villain, here's everything you need to know about the cast of Blue Beetle. Of course, fans have a bunch of questions about the cast. After all, this is the first DC movie that has a completely Latino-led cast. You've got Zolo Maridueña playing the hero himself, though you might remember him from Cobra Kai.
It's not lame-ass karate. It's Cobra Kai.
The actor even got a chance to be involved in the kind of character that he wants Jaime to be. Other than him, there has been a recent announcement that Bruna Marquezenia is joining the cast. She's going to be playing Penny, who's basically the love interest for your main character. It's a pretty big role for someone who's just debuting in Hollywood, so there's a lot of potential there, and hopefully she lives up to it. Let's take a look at who's going to be playing the villain. At first, it was thought that Sharon Stone was going to be playing the character, especially since she was talking about it with the studio. But ultimately, they've gone ahead with Susan Sarandon instead. But that's not all. Harvey Guillen is going to be playing Dr. Sanchez, and Adriana Braza will be playing Jaime's grandmother, along with one of the biggest names in Hollywood, George Lopez, playing his uncle. And there's no way I could forget about Damien Alcazar and Elpidia Carrillo playing his parents, and Belissa Escobedo as his sisters, though there aren't any details about whether they're going to have a major role to play in it. Finally, the Blue Beetle isn't the only person with superpowers showing up in the film. Raul Max Trujillo is set to play as Conrad Carapax as well. A cast that huge has to be playing some really cool characters. And let me just say that we're all in for a treat. The film is going to have two main villains. One of them is Susan's Victoria Cord, for any of you out there who might not know much about the character, because she has some kind of relation to a different Blue Beetle. Along with her control over Cord Industries, she's trying to get the power of the Scarab for her own goals. All the while Trujillo's character, Conrad Carapax, the same archaeologist from the comics who had his brain infused with a robot, is the second villain of the film, raising the stakes even higher than before. It seems like he's going to be helping Cord in their attempts to get the Scarab, all the while introducing different characters from the comics as well. And of course, I have to talk about the hero himself, Zolo Maridueña's Jaime Reyes, an employee at Cord who finds the beetle and is chosen by it.
All you brought back was a hamburger?
Okay, I don't think it's a burger.
You haven't looked?
What the hell is that?
How did you get it to do that?
I think he likes me.
Ultimately leading to his incredible powers as he learns more about it and fights off Cord's villains. With such complex characters, I only have one question. When is the film even coming out? A lot of people were worried about whether or not the film was even going to get made. The recent merger between Warner Brothers and Discovery led to a bunch of films that fans were looking forward to being canceled. So it's only fair of them to assume that Blue Beetle would have been canceled as well. But that's not the case this time. In fact, the film is in full swing with its production, and they're almost done with the entire thing. After all, who in their right mind would kill off a project that so many people are looking forward to? Something that might change the game for DC films. Of course, they're going to go ahead with their original plan of direct-to-streaming the film to HBO Max. Though fret not, it is getting the full IMAX treatment, so you're going to be enjoying it to its full capacity the moment it hits the streaming service. The film is finally going to hit theaters on August 18th, 2023. That is, if they can avoid any kind of delays, something that is super common these days, though they have managed to stray away from that ever since they started working on it. But release date aside, what's the film even going to be about? The team behind the film has been kind enough to put out an actual synopsis for it. It's going to be revolving around the story of Jaime, a young adult who has just graduated from college and is absolutely beaming with hopes and dreams for his future. Though the moment he comes back home, he realizes that things aren't what they once were, and it's not for the better. Though not too long after that, the protagonist ends up finding an ancient artifact called the Scarab. And it's not just any artifact, it's the remains of some form of ancient technology that has yet to be achieved by humans. The Scarab then chooses him as its host, ultimately granting him a bunch of powers that let him be the hero that he's known to be.
Host acquired.
Who said that?
Okay, it's gonna be okay.
Along with a really badass armor that is entirely impenetrable and helps him fight off bad guys. Considering that it is a superhero debut movie, you can expect there to be other more sinister people who want that power for themselves and try to get their hands on it through a bunch of different villainous ways. Ultimately, they too are going to be defeated by Jaime as he learns more about his powers and gets stronger. It's set up to be one of the most fun DC movies to date, so I really do hope that they don't mess it up. All of that considered, let's talk about the forces behind the making of the film. Blue Beetle has been filmed in a number of different locations. The latest of the bunch is Puerto Rico, where filming also ended back in July 2022. Of course, it's all under the work of Ángel Manuel Soto, the director behind the film, though it is his first time directing a superhero film. But from what you've seen about it as of yet, it's looking up to be absolutely incredible. Some of his best works include the beloved Charm City Kings, and even Menudo, Forever Young. That wouldn't have been possible without an incredible screenplay. This time, it's written by none other than Gareth Dunnet Alcocer, the very same person behind Miss Bala and Contrapelo. Now that the film is getting a full-on theatrical release, they've got much more liberty with it, at least from a creative point of view. So you can expect things to get really wild. Not just that, but they're going hardcore on the Latino representation aspect of it, truly embracing it to make something incredible and fresh. On the other hand, you've got David Siegel, Zev Foreman, and Garrett Grant as the executive producers, along with Peter Safran and John Rickard as the producers. That's far from everyone though, with Bob Kurlick from Beef and Paper Girls acting as the composer for it. And even Pavel Pogorzelski from iconic films like Nobody and Midsummer served as the cinematographer. It's looking like it's gonna be an amazing watch. Of course, fans are still curious to know more. Like, does the future hold more for this franchise? I mean, all of it depends on how successful the first film is. Not only are we talking about sales over here, but ratings as well, since no one really would want to see it a second time if their experience with the first wasn't a good one. But if it is successful, fans seem to think that it could open the door to a Teen Titans film in the future. And you know for a fact that you and I, along with every other fan out there, want nothing more than that. What's even better is that if it does happen, it would set up a proper world around the characters before heading down that route. That's all I have on the cast of Blue Beetle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.